Good morning student, I welcome you to my class and I am going to do the chapter Madam Ride the Bus. It is chapter number 9 of your book, Literary Reader. So first of all children, I will be writing about the writer Walik Kanam. So this is the name of the writer. Okay. So let me tell you something about the writer, then I will be telling you the background of the lesson. So Valmikanan is the pseudonym of the famous writer R.S. Krishna Swami. So actually who is Valikanan? Valikanan is the pseudonym. Pseudonym is the false name of the famous writer R.S. Krishnan Sami. So he is not Krishna Swami, he is Krishnan Sami. He was born in a village near Trunelveli in Tamil Nadu. So where he was born, children, in a village in Trunelveli in Tamil Nadu. On 12th November 1920 and died on 9th November 2006. He was a famous Tamil writer, journalist, critic and translator. So 4 qualities we had seen in him. He was famous Tamil writer, journalist, critic and translator. He started writing at a very young age and had published 24 books by the time he turned 30. He wrote a total of 75 books in his life. He wrote novels, poetry, collections, plays and essay. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1978 for his critical work on modern Tamil poetry. Well children, so now I will be teaching you the lesson. First of all, I will be telling you about the summary of the story. Okay, and then I will discuss the theme and the message of the story. So the summary, there is a girl whose name is Valli. What is the name of that girl? She is Valli. Now, so point wise I will be teaching you the lesson. So Valli's favorite hobby. Okay, so children, Valli is a girl, and what is her favorite hobby? There was a girl named Valli Mai. So children, her full name was Valli Mai. Again, this is a Tamil name, and people used to call her Valli. She was called Valli for short. She was 8 years old. She was very curious about things. Standing in the front doorway of her house was her favorite pastime. Now children, she was very particular about the thing, especially the things, children, which was seen at the front doorway of her house, and it was her favorite pastime. She had no playmates. Watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. Watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. So children, she did not have many friends, in fact no playmates, and watching the street gave her many new unusual experience. For a long time she used to watch the street which was there in front of her house and which gave her many new unusual experiences. Now my second thing which I am going to explain about the lesson is watching the bus. Okay, so day after day, children, she watched the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. So children, Valli was very much interested in watching the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. She wished to ride on that bus. Now children, now what was her wish? She wanted to ride in that bus, which used to travel between her village and the nearest town. She wished to ride on that bus. This wish became stronger and stronger. And children, the more she used to see that bus, this feeling became stronger and stronger in her that she should ride a bus. So this wish became stronger and stronger. She would stare at the people who got on or off from the bus. So now children, not even that, she used to watch the people who used to come down from the bus, and they used to climb on the bus. She listened carefully the conversation between her neighbors who regularly used the bus. And children, not only that, she used to listen to the conversation of her neighbor who daily used to sit on that bus, who used to children sit on that bus daily. She picked up small details about the bus journey, and in that way children, she started learning about that bus journey. The town was 6 miles from her village. Like, the town was only 6 miles from her village. The fare was 35 paisa one way. So one way, if you will travel, you have to pay ticket for 45 paisa, 35 paisa. To Wally, this amount seemed a fortune. That trip to the town took 45 minutes. And children, this was a large money for Wally, and this trip took only 45 minutes. So trip from village to the town and coming back to the town again, it took 45 minutes. Planned her journey. Children, finally what happened? Wally planned her journey. She decided she could take 1 o'clock afternoon bus. She would reach the town at 1:45. She could be back home by about 2:45. She calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. So she could take 1 o'clock afternoon bus. She would reach the town at 1:45. She could be back home by about 2:45. She calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. So finally, what she decided to do, she decided that she would ride on the bus, okay, and she would reach the town at she would take 1 o'clock afternoon bus. Children, I will also tell you the reason why she took 1 o'clock bus. She would reach the town at 1:45. She could be back home by about 2:45. She calculated and again recalculated. She planned and again replanned. Boarding the, and children, why she decided for this afternoon hours? Because her mother used to take rest. She used to sleep at this time. Now, boarding the bus. Boarding the bus. When Wally sighted the bus, she cried, "Stop the bus! Stop the bus!" The bus slowed down. Now children, so the day has finally come. When Wally decided to ride on the bus, children, she sighted the bus and she cried, "Stop the bus! Stop the bus!" The bus slowed down. Still standing outside the bus, she told the conductor that she wanted to go to the town. So she is still standing outside the bus. She told the conductor that she wanted to go to the town. She slowed down the money. She showed the money to the bus conductor. The conductor stretched his hand to help her up. She was wondering whether the conductor will allow her to sit in the bus. So she showed the money which was there on her hand to the conductor, and he pulled. The conductor stretched his hand to help her up. Wally replied that she could help herself. Now children, when the conductor wanted to help her, Wally replied that she could ride by herself. The conductor was fond of joking. He asked others to make way for the madam. Now, children, that conductor was very what to play. He was very humorous person. He loved joking. So when Wally was riding and going to the seat, he told that others to make way for Wally, make way for madam. All the 6 or 7 passengers were looking at Wally. She was overcome with shyness. So children, all the other persons started looking at Wally, and she was overcome with shyness. She quickly went to an empty seat and sat down. Then children, finally she went towards the empty seat and sat down. The conductor blew his whistle and the bus moved forward with a roar. Okay. Looking outside. Well, Bali started looking. So my fifth point is, children, Wally looked outside the bus. Wally started looking outside the bus. She started to look outside. The bus was not going along the bank of the canal. Beyond it, she could see palm trees, grassland, distant mountain, and the blue sky. Now, children, this you have to underline in your book also. What she had seen: beautiful palm trees, grassland, distant mountains, and the blue sky. Then she saw acres of green fields. An elderly person asked her to sit down. She was little annoyed. Now one of the person asked her to sit down, but she felt a little annoyed. The conductor said jokingly, "Oh sir, but this is a very grown up madam." Now children, again conductor joked with her. He told, "Oh sir, this is a very grown up madam." Wally shot back, "I'm not a madam." And children, Wally, she replied she was not a madam. She reminded the conductor that he had not given her the ticket here. Now children, at the same time, she reminded the conductor that he had not given the ticket to her. He asked why she was standing when she had paid for her seat. He called her a child and asked her to sit down. Now children, the conductor told her, "Why are you standing when you have paid for your seat? You can sit down." Okay, and he called this time her a child and asked her to sit down. Now, not a child. This time, children, Wally was very angry. She told irritably, "I'm not a child. I tell you, I am 8-year-old." She told, "I am not a child. I am 8-year-old." Wally finally sat down. An elderly woman came and sat beside her. So children, an elderly woman came and sat beside her. Wally found the woman absolutely repulsive. She had big hole in her ears and ugly earrings in them. When she saw that woman, she found that she is absolutely repulsive. She had a big hole in her ear and ugly earrings in them. She could smell the beeted nut the woman was chewing. And children, betel nut, what we tell supari, she was chewing that, and Wally could smell the smell of that betel nut. She asked if Wally was traveling alone. Now she asked Wally if she was traveling alone. She cut short the woman as well as the conductor. She asked them to mind their own business. Now this time Wally was firm in her answer. She told, "You have to mind your own business." No asking question from her. The old woman continued troubling Wally with her unpleasant question. Now children, the old woman, she did not listen to Wally. She started troubling her with her unpleasant question. She asked why Wally was traveling alone and if she even knew where she was going. So she asked Wally why she was traveling alone and whether she knew whether she was going. Wally reported that she need not bother about her. She could take care of herself. Now Wally also again was very irritated, and she replied to that lady that she could take care of herself and she has not to bother about her. Now seventh was saved money for her first journey. Okay, saved money for her first journey. So Wali's first journey came after a careful and painstaking planning. She saved whatever stray coins came her way. Finally, she had saved a total of 60 paise. So children, whatever money, penny she used to give, Wali had saved for her first children journey. She resisted every temptation like buying toys, balloons and to ride the merry-go-round. Now children, the parents, they used to give her a small amount of money so that she could buy small toys or balloon or to ride on merry-go-round, but she stopped all her temptation and saved money to ride on the bus. Her next problem was how to slip out of the house without her mother's knowledge. So now children, she saved the money, she saved the fare for the bus, but children, her problem was that her mother would, children, without telling her mother how she would move away. So she had this much knowledge that her mother would nap every day. And what is the meaning of nap? Nap means children to take a short sleep from 1 to 4. So from 1 to 4 her mother used to sleep. These 3 hours were for her excursion. Now she decided her mother will not know. She sleep during these 3 hours and that would be the best time for her to go. Reaching her destination, the bus was rushing through a small hamlet. Suddenly Wally clapped her hand. A young cow was running very fast. Now reaching her destination. Now children, that moment has come. Okay, Wally was sitting in a bus and she was reaching her destination. So Wally was reaching her destination. The bus was rushing through a small hamlet. Suddenly Wally clapped her hands. A young cow was running very fast right in the middle of the road. It was right in front of the bus. The driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. So one small cow who was very young, she was running from children very fast right in the middle of the road. It was right in front of the bus. The driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. The more he honked, the more frightened the animal became. It was very funny to Wally. She laughed until tears came to her eyes. Then they passed through a railroad crossing. Then it passed through a busy but well laid out shopping street. So children, these were the things which Wally was seeing when she was sitting on the bus. What glittering display of clothes, such big crowds, thought Wally. Her destination had come. Her 30 paise could take her only to this place. The conductor asked her to get off. Wally replied that she was going back on the same bus. She handed 30 paise coin to the conductor. Now children, conductor reminded her that her destination has come, but Wally told that she is going to return from the same bus, and again she handed 30 paise to the conductor. Return journey. Okay, now Wally was returning back. The conductor was surprised. Wally told him that she just felt like having the bus ride again. He was greatly amused. He asked if she was not afraid of coming alone in the bus. She answered that there was nothing to be worried about. He was ready to offer a cold drink to her. She firmly said that she wanted only her ticket and nothing else. A cow lying dead. Wally wasn't bored during her return journey. She had the same excitement. Suddenly, she saw a young cow lying dead by the roadside. It had been struck by some fast moving vehicle. She was the same cow which she had seen before. When alive, she was lovable, beautiful creature. Now she looked so horrible and frightening, Wally said, glued to her seat. The bus reached her village at 3:40. Reached home. She wished the conductor and hoped to see him again. When Wally entered her house, she found her mother awake and talking to one of her aunts. She was a real chatterbox. Her mother went on with her conversation. She opened that there were so many things in the world outside. They could not understand them completely. Wally agreed with her mother. She said so many things were happening without their knowledge. Her aunt called her just a chit of a girl she is. She poked her nose in their conversation as though she were a grown-up lady. Wally smiled to herself but did not want them to understand her smile. So children, this is all the story, okay? And children, main point of the story once again I revise with you. Wally was an 8-year-old girl. The most fascinating things for her was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. She wanted to ride the bus. She made an elaborate planning and saved 60 paise, the both way fare of the bus. The bus conductor stretched out his hand to help her up, but Wally could get on by herself. The conductor was fond of joking and called her Madam. The bus started with a roar and Wally was constantly looking outside. The conductor asked her to sit down as she had paid for her seat. She looked her seat and an elderly woman sat beside her. The old woman was very repulsive and the smell of the beetle she was chewing offended Wally. The old woman asked why Wally was traveling alone. Wally asked her not to bother about her. Suddenly a young cow came running very fast in the middle of the road. The driver sounded his horn loudly, but the more he honked, the more frightened the animal would become. Wally laughed at the scene until tears came to her eyes. Her destination had come. The driver asked Wally to get off the bus. Wally handed 30 paise coin to the driver and told him that she was going back on the same bus. The conductor was surprised. He offered a free cold drink to her. Wally firmly but politely rejected the offer. He asked if her mother wouldn't be looking for her. On her return journey, she saw the same cow lying dead by the side of the road. The memory of the dead cow haunted her and she was no longer looking outside. She reached her village at 3:40 p.m. She wished and hoped to see the driver again. She found her mother awake and talking to one of her aunts. Her aunt was a chatterbox. Wally agreed that many things were happening outside without their knowledge. Now children, the main character here is Wally, who was known as Walia Mai. She emerges as a very clever, sensitive, self-respecting and fun-loving girl. She was just 8 years old. She was a determined girl with a commanding nature. She was very curious about things. Her favorite pastime was standing in the front door of her house. She was mature, clever and practical beyond her years. Saving 60 paise was not an easy job for a girl of her age. She was determined to resist any temptation that come in her way. Wally did not like being called a madam or a child. She was greatly planner and planned things after knowing all necessary details about them. So children, now children, in this sensitive story, an 8-year-old girl's first bus journey into the world outside her village is also her induction into the mystery of life and death. She sees the gap between our knowing that there is a death and our understanding of it. Now I would like to discuss about the theme of the lesson. So children, Madam Ride the Bus is the story of an 8-year-old girl, Wali. She was a wonderful girl. She was mature, clever, practical and self-respecting beyond her age. Standing in the front doorway and watching what was happening in the street was her favorite pastime. She was a great planner. She thrifted, saved every penny that come her way for her first bus journey. During her first bus journey, Wali was full of enthusiasm and excitement. She enjoyed the landscape, the canal, palm trees, distant mountain and green field stretching out as far as her eyes could see. She decided strongly when she was called a child or madam. The self-respecting girl refused to accept a free cold drink offered by the bus conductor. She planned her bus journey during the nap hours of her mother, so you can see how clever she was. Interestingly, her mother could never know of the bus journey her daughter undertook during the nap in the afternoon. So, this is all children. So I have discussed about the author. I have told we have done our reading. The main point was discussed, and I have discussed about the theme and message. Now we can discuss the question answer in the online class. Okay. Now some of the important points like children, what do you mean when the Wali said, I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge? This is one of the most difficult line of the lesson. So let me explain. Wali returned home after bus ride. At that time her mother was talking with her aunt, with an aunt. They were talking about things happening without their knowledge in the world. Outside, Wali also agreed to their views because she had enjoyed a bus journey and they did not know about it. Sometimes we know the things but can't understand. Okay. So children, this is all. We have completed the whole story. Now here you can have a characteristic of Wali, and then do you think the Wali enjoyed the first bus ride? These can become in the long question. So of course you have to describe everything. What did standing at the front door mean to Wali? So these are some of the important questions to be discussed. Okay, like Wali Mati or Wali was just a chit of a girl. She was 8 years old. She was very curious about things. She was always anxious to gather all details and why and how about things. She was not very social either. She had no playmates of her own age in her neighborhood. Naturally, she could not play games without friends. So she could not play game without friend, but she more than compensated this drawback. Her favorite pastime was standing in the front doorway of her house. Standing there, she could watch what was happening in the street outside, but for Wally, standing at the front door was very enjoyable. Actually, it was an enjoyable was any of the game after children played. Watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. The most fascinating of all these scenes was the scene of the bus that travel between her village and the nearest town, seeing a new set of passenger every time. She also wished to have the bus ride at least once in her life. So children, I have finished this lesson. With this, children, and now this time MCQ question is going to come in the examination. Now you have to read the lesson line by line. If you have any problem, we can discuss in the online class and we can sort out our problem. With this, I take a break. I take a leave, children. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.